Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're here with us today. For so many of us, the absolute dream of having a water feature in our backyard is all about creating this tranquil, low-maintenance piece of paradise. We just want to sit back, listen to the waterfalls, and enjoy a totally chemical-free wonderland. But if you're a new pond owner, or honestly, even if you've had one for a while, you might quickly realize that without the right knowledge, that dream can sometimes feel, well, a little complicated. So today, our goal is to completely demystify pond maintenance. We're going to look at exactly how to balance your pond water using incredibly simple treatments.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to cover 4 simple pillars that will make caring for your water feature totally manageable. First, the balanced pond ecosystem. Second, meeting your beneficial bacteria. Third, solving green water problems. And finally, troubleshooting and routine maintenance.
Now, I want to start by validating a very common nightmare. Picture this. You walk out to your backyard with your morning coffee, expecting to see a pristine, reflective water garden, and instead, bam! You are staring at a messy, cloudy, intensely green pond full of algae. If you've ever asked yourself, with just genuine bewilderment, why is my pond green? Trust me, you are absolutely not alone. It's literally the most common problem people have with their water features. But here's the good news. It is highly fixable once you understand what's actually happening beneath the surface.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when we use simple treatments to partner with Mother Nature instead of fighting her. Our ultimate goal is a beautifully balanced pond, just perfectly reflecting the surrounding landscape. By really understanding the ecosystem, we can achieve this kind of stunning clarity without ever relying on harsh chemicals that completely disrupt the environment.
So let's lay the biological foundation and look at Section 1. The balanced pond ecosystem.
At the absolute core of a healthy pond is biological equilibrium, and that is driven entirely by the nitrogen cycle. It's sort of like a giant puzzle, and here's how this incredible team effort works. First, your fish produce waste. That waste, along with decaying organic matter, creates ammonia, which is highly deadly to pond life. But here is where the magic happens. Beneficial bacteria step in and convert that harmful ammonia into nitrites and then into nitrates. Finally, your aquatic plants absorb those nitrates to grow. It's a perfect, self-sustaining loop that transforms deadly waste right into essential plant food. If you eliminate even one of these elements, you've got an unbalanced ecosystem on your hands.
And speaking of fish, there is a massive misconception out there that adding koi or other fish to your pond turns it into a total maintenance nightmare. Actually, scratch that. It couldn't be further from the truth. Fish are an absolutely integral part of any functioning ecosystem. Contrary to popular belief, they actively reduce your pond maintenance. They graze on pesky string algae all day and act as bottom feeders, constantly cleaning up the pond floor. They're basically your little underwater janitorial staff.
Completing that nitrogen cycle are your aquatic plants, which are truly Mother Nature's ultimate filters. Now, yes, they provide fantastic color and texture, adding incredible character to your landscape, but from a filtration perspective, they do the heavy lifting. Plants completely thrive on the excess nutrients floating around in your pond water. By absorbing those nutrients, they literally starve out the algae, completely depriving it of its primary food source. So having proper plant coverage is absolutely critical for the overall health of your water garden.
All right, moving on to our second pillar. Let's meet your beneficial bacteria, the invisible cleanup crew.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these 2 specific treatments work together as a powerhouse 2-part regimen. On one hand, we have all-season bacteria. This is typically a liquid treatment that maintains clear water year-round. It breaks down organic waste, helps control algae, and incredibly, it stays active in water as cold as 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So you don't even have to change treatments in the winter. On the other hand, we have the sludge remover. These are convenient 3-gram sinking pellets. You just drop them in, they sink right to the bottom, and they literally digest the muck, the fish debris, dead leaves, and sludge that accumulate down there. Used together, they are just fantastic.
And treating your pond isn't some wild guessing game. It's a really simple recipe based entirely on volume. Whether you have a small 1,000-gallon water garden or a massive 4,000-gallon koi pond, the measurements scale perfectly. For example, a 2,000-gallon pond just needs 2 packets of all-season bacteria and 8 scoops of sludge remover. To find your gallons, just multiply length times width times depth, and then multiply that by 7.48. Once you have that number, you just follow the exact measurements. It takes all the anxiety right out of maintenance.
Okay, let's shift to Section 3, solving green water problems and tackling those villains.
We talked earlier about the nightmare of waking up to a green pond. What is actually happening here is an outbreak of single-celled, free-floating algae.
Basically, green water means that algae is growing significantly faster than your biological ecosystem can naturally balance it. This is incredibly common in newly constructed ponds or in situations where someone has completely drained and replaced all the water, essentially hitting the reset button on all that good bacteria we just talked about.
Let's move to and see how this builds into dealing with another major nuisance, string algae. Unlike green water, string algae physically attaches to your rocks and waterfalls. If you need to use an algicide like Algae Off, here's an incredibly simple, safe, step-by-step method. Step 1. Turn off your pump and stop all water movement. Step 2. Sprinkle the powder directly onto the algae. Step 3. Wait about 15 to 20 minutes. And Step 4, and this is absolutely crucial, scoop out the detached, dead algae with a net. You must scoop it out. If you leave decaying algae in the water, it just provides a buffet of nutrients for an even bigger algae bloom next time.
For overall green water treatment, the solutions really require a holistic approach. First, start that two-part beneficial bacteria regimen we discussed. Second, ensure your pump is appropriately sized. This is a massive mistake for DIYers. Your pump must be able to turn over your entire pond's volume twice every single hour. If it's too small, dirty water takes way too long to cycle through the filters. Third, monitor your pH. You ideally want it right around 7.5. You can also consider a UV clarifier to combat algae without harming pond life. But above all else, and I cannot stress this enough, have patience, have patience, have patience. Cleaning a pond naturally takes time. String algae removal and green water balancing can take anywhere from 20 to 70 days. Don't panic and dump harsh chemicals in. Just let the ecosystem do its job.
Finally, let's jump into Section 4, troubleshooting and routine maintenance, the practical mechanical checks.
Now, one of the biggest sources of sheer panic for new pond owners is a dropping water line. They immediately think their expensive liner has a massive hole in it. But we need to contrast evaporation with an actual leak. Moving water, especially in a pond with a long stream or cascading waterfalls, evaporates fast. Losing up to 2 inches of water per day can be completely normal, especially in the intense heat of summer. However, if your pond level drops several inches overnight, that is almost certainly a leak that needs your attention.
But hey, if you do have a quote-unquote leak, don't panic. The vast majority of the time, you do not have a punctured liner. The most common cause is simply low edges. As the ground settles, a section of the pond perimeter might dip right below the water line. The fix? Super easy. Just lift up that high-quality EPDM rubber liner and pack some fresh soil underneath to raise the edge back up. The second most common cause is splash out. Watch your stream and waterfalls. If water is visibly splashing onto the mulch or dirt outside the liner, just adjust a few rocks to redirect that flow back into the main basin. It's really usually that simple.
So the crucial point is this: never, ever turn off your pump. Plain and simple, your natural pond ecosystem must circulate 24 hours per day. Those beneficial bacteria we met earlier, along with your fish, are living organisms, right? They require constant, round-the-clock oxygenation. Turning off the pump at night, just to save a few pennies on electricity, will quickly crash your entire biological ecosystem.
I want to bring it all back to this fantastic quote from the source material. Work with Mother Nature, not against her, for a chemical-free wonderland of water. I love that. This is the ultimate, empowering summary of the entire ecosystem approach. When you provide the right plants, the right fish, the right bacteria, and adequate circulation, nature just does the hard work for you. It's easier, it's safer, and it just makes sense.
So I will leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today. Take a look at your own backyard water feature, or the one you are dreaming about building. Is your pond working with Mother Nature, or are you fighting against her? By applying the simple, natural treatments and ecosystem principles we've outlined today, you can absolutely achieve that low-maintenance paradise you've been dreaming of. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy water gardening!